Today we are here to start part 10 of our interview with Judith Lynn Thorne Wagoner, my mother. And today we're going to start talking about her, any remainder of her church experience in Brevard County, her current church.
Okay, since we've lived in Brevard County, since we moved here to Melbourne area, we've gone to Eastminster Presbyterian Church where Doris and Dawn and the family went. And we enjoyed that church, always have. Very nice big church, a lot of good programs. And I generally, about the only thing I did at church was singing in the choir. I joined the choir because I had always been a singer in choirs. And it was very nice. Had some nice directors and musicians and a nice sized choir. I always sang soprano, and that's about it. I just really enjoyed the choir, and then I'd help a little bit around the church, but not very much. I never had any specific job to do. And that was it. Okay, what was the next thing?
If you'd like to talk about your current house and property.
Okay. Oh, I do want to say one other thing about the church. Darwin and I had always been very, very active in every church we had been in. We had held offices and always were on committees and always doing things. And I had been an elder and for 2 or 3 terms. And Darwin had been an elder and a deacon, and we had just always been real active. And when we moved here, Darwin was not well. And so that kind of, we just really didn't have the time to participate much in church. And so it wasn't quite the same. So, and then my home, when we first moved here, we moved to Sheridan Lakes, a nice new subdivision. I moved into a new home. It was a real nice home. It was a 3-bedroom and had a big nice garage, and it had a big lanai, which I enjoyed thoroughly. And it was in a lovely neighborhood.
Yeah, we talked about that one. We just want to talk about your current place.
Oh, all right. Well then, and I told you about living with you then too for 3 years. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So after then, I decided I needed to get into my own house after 3 years with Doris and Dawn, and I found this lovely little home. Actually, it's basically six houses away from Doris and Dawn's house, but it's an older home and had been totally remodeled inside and out. Beautiful floors, really pretty, nice kind of a yellowish tan siding on it, and a nice 1-car garage attached, of course, and a big backyard and a nice front yard with a clump of palmetto trees in the front yard, which I call my palmetto garden. And it's nice because it gives a lot of privacy to my front porch, and the front porch was so cute. It has a little railing and just a real cute, it's tiny, but it's real cute. The house itself has just a walk-through kitchen, but it's really nice, all brand new appliances, stainless steel appliances, and just really nice. And there's a laundry room, a small laundry room right off the kitchen. Actually, it's right off the dining room, but it's hidden away. You don't notice it. And there's a dining room and double glass doors looking out into a lovely large backyard, again with a clump of basically pepper trees and a few palmettos, and but it's a nice place. It's much bigger than the one in the front yard, and then there's some nice shrubs and things near the little patio right outside the doors. And then the dining room is a nice size. My dining room furniture fit in there okay. Before I moved, both times when I moved from Dunedin to
West Melbourne.
no, from when I moved from Dunedin to Sheridan Lakes, I got rid of half of my belongings again. And so and then I had to store those belongings for 3 years, and I had pretty well figured, I knew pretty much what I had stored, what was there in the way of furniture and other things. And so I had pretty well figured that I would probably fit pretty well into my new home. And I have lovely landlords, the Sullivans. They're very nice people. And I moved in with Jessie. I don't think I had another kitty, did I? It was just Jessie.
Not right away.
And it was nice. We got along real well, and I fit the living room. The dining room ran across the back of the house, and there was a door going out into the garage from there. And then the living room was in front there, and it was a nice sized living room. It's a much smaller home than what I'd ever had before, but everything fit real well.
Yes,
And
it's still 3 bedrooms.
yes, and I put my antique fireplace in the living room, and the church pew in front of the big window, and in the living room looking out onto the front yard and the palmetto garden. And it was very nice place. And then there was a hallway going down from the entryway from the living room in the kitchen area, going down or up, I think it goes north. And there was a small, a very small bedroom or room there. And so I made that into a den. And I had the roll top desk and several things like that, and the bookcase, a couple bookcases, and everything fit perfect there. And then the next room beside that was a nice sized bedroom, and it's I use it as a spare bedroom, and I have my hide-a-bed that I always had in all my spare bedrooms in there, and my own desk that I've always had, and a couple of antique pieces and things like that in there. It looks good. Big mirror. And there's a closet in each one of those bedrooms, which is nice. And then right to the side of that last bedroom was the master bedroom. And that's a nice sized room, and my bedroom furniture fit in there real well, and I've enjoyed that very much. And there's a small bathroom attached to that with a shower, and it's nice and private. Gives me a nice my own private little bathroom. And then going back into the hallway, headed back toward the living room, there is a nice big bathroom right in there too, which is nice for anybody who wanted to use it. It's very pretty. It's a very pretty bathroom. So that's it. It's a lovely little home, and it's a good solid home. I can hardly hear anything that goes on outside from it. It's pretty solid, and it has now it has for the last year or so we left the storm shutters on. We have the kind that you can see through and the light comes through, and that's nice. I felt more secure with it, and for storm season, of course. And my landlord wanted to take them off, and I said, "Why don't you just leave them on, because it'll soon be hurricane season, so we'd have to put them back up." And I don't mind having them there. They do give even more privacy, even though you can see through them somewhat. And so I like that. And the front door is a beautiful red door. I like that. There's a storm door on the front, and I had some small iron, white iron chairs that are for the outside, and they fit on the front porch. A little table, and then of course I always have a lot of plants, and so they're out there. And then I put plants in the palmetto garden, and right now it's a beautiful place. The palmetto garden, I put a lot. I have 2 pine trees right there in that palmetto garden, and lots of pine needles, and so I have mulched the entire palmetto garden. In fact, the back garden, or the back wooded area, is mulched too with pine needles, and that helps to keep the bugs down and the weeds down, and it looks pretty too, and I like that. I'm real pleased with the pine needle mulch. And but right now the palmetto garden is so pretty. It's so lush and green, and I have a few potted plants in there, and I just recently put a orchid that I had attached to a tree in that garden, and then I've got 2 more orchids that I'm going to attach them to the tree too. So hopefully they'll bloom. They won't bloom inside, and so I'm hoping that they'll adapt. And the one that I put in already is looking good. It's looking real healthy. So I'm looking forward to that. And there's a little sign that says garden, and it's made out of little tools and things. It's real cute. Doris gave that to me. And then I have a little artificial actually it's big, bunny, a rabbit, in the very back of my palmetto garden that you can see. I fixed a sort of a little trail back in there. And that rabbit was in my mother's flower bed. And after she passed away, we were all moving out and moving things out and getting about ready to go to our own homes, because we had stayed there for a while. My sister and I had stayed there for a while and had worked. And I happened to look at that flower bed, and there was that rabbit sitting in there. Nobody had wanted it. And I thought, I'm going to take that. That's Mother's rabbit, you know. And it's just a plastic bunny, but it's a nice one. And it's big. And so that's back in the palmetto garden, and I just love it. I look out and I see that little bunny out there. It's really nice. And then there's a little stump from one of the palmetto trees sticking out, and it's got a fade. It's dead. I was going to cut it down, and I got to looking at it one day, and I thought, that stump has a face on it, and looks like he has a big smile, and you can see his teeth. And so Doris came over, and I told her about it, and I said, I got give him a name, because I want to keep it. And so she suggested I name him Treebeard, which is from one of Tolkien's novels. And so I did, and that's my Treebeard. I'm real pleased with him. He's still smiling at me. So I live right on the corner of Dresden and Hanau streets. My address is Hanau. And the yard is, the house is situated kind of high in the yard on like a rise, and then the backyard is really great big. It's a big backyard. It's fenced in, so somebody there in the past has had a dog, and they've got a wire fence around it, but I'm glad to have that there. And there's a big wide entrance in the back if you want to go through the yard, and then there's a gate on the front that you can get into the yard. And there are 6 big pine trees out there, and then a clump of more pepper trees out there, and with a few of the little palmetto bushes around it. And then up by the house is it's actually a pepper tree, but I keep it trimmed back so that it won't grow very big, and it looks like a big bush. And then there's one of these variegated I don't know if they're philodendrons or what they're called. I don't think so, but it's a pretty bush, very variegated colors right there too. And it gives me some privacy from the little patio that's there. So that's my home,
Okay.
and I love it.
Would you
I'm
like
really
to?
happy there.
Good. Would you like to talk about your favorite pets over the years?
Okay, well,
What their personalities were like and such?
I had, I never had a dog of my own since when I was a little kid. We had a little dog, a Scottish. She was so precious, Peggy. That was many years ago. And then Mother and Dad, through the years, had some Pekingese and a little wire-haired terrier or two, and a Doberman Pinscher, and they were all sweet animals. And then when Darwin and I were first married and in college, Mother and Dad had a little yellow kitten that had been hit by a car, had been run over or something a little bit, and he was all right, but when you pick a cat up and turn it upside down and drop it, it'll rotate around and land on its feet, but he could never do that. That's the only difference about him. He was a sweet little pet, and we lived in an apartment and had him for a while, and then we bought a mobile home and moved into the university trailer park there at Carbondale, Southern Illinois University, and they wouldn't let us have pets. So we had to give him back to Mother and Dad, and they had him for a while. We named him Mikey, and he was so sweet. He just made our little apartment a home, but something happened to him. I don't know if he got, what happened. And living out of town like Mother and Dad did, often we lost pets.
Well, he was outside and I think he disappeared.
Yeah, they wouldn't keep him inside, right. And then, then we didn't have another kitty until Darwin took a job at Hardin, Illinois, to teach school. And when we moved there, we bought another big mobile home and moved it there. Had a nice lot, put it on, and it was comfortable and nice. We were pleased with that. And Gloria she and her husband Jeff were living in a small town there in Bridgeport, where we all came from. And somebody had moved away and left a little Siamese kitty, a little tomcat. And so she took care of him for a little bit, and then she gave him to us. And she had named him Piewacket. But I never did like that because Piewacket belonged to a witch in the movie. And so I couldn't think of a decent name for him, and I thought, well, he's a tomcat, so I'll call him TC. And he was such a sweet pet. Darwin and I just really enjoyed him, and we had him the whole 5 years we lived there at Hardin. And then we moved, and eventually ended up, he took a job he was teaching school all that time, and then decided he wanted to make more money. So he got a job with the Illinois Agricultural Association. It was quite a nice promotion for him. And he was an executive there. And so we moved eventually to Taylorville, Illinois. And we had TC there for a while, and he got
cystitis.
Yeah, I guess he didn't have it before we moved there. But
Do you want to talk about his personality?
He was so funny. He was a funny little kitty. He'd run around, and if Darwin took off a sock and threw it down, he'd carry the sock around through the house, and he was just a funny little kitty, and we enjoyed him a lot. And I don't know, he did various things. Doris remembers more about some funny things that he did. But,
I don't remember. I only have one memory of TC, but I remember a lot about Tyson.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, TC. He was a beautiful little Siamese cat.
Big Siamese.
Yeah. He wasn't huge, but he was big. And so he passed away, and then we had, then I was teaching school at the time, and I had a student who came in and had two little brown tabby kittens, and they were cute as they could be, and told me that her parents were going to have them put to sleep if she didn't find somebody to take them. So I took them, and I had them for a while, and they were cute, and they played, but then I gave them to a farmer friend of Darwin's, and he put them on his farm. And then we had a little kitty that Darwin brought home from his office. Her name was Sissy. She was beautiful. She was she wasn't a Persian, but she had longish hair, and she had that silver gray hair, you know, that some cats have, and she was just a beautiful kitty. But she had a problem. I suspect that somewhere along the line she had been hit by a car, because she had some kind of a bowel problem, and Doris, I'm trying to think what happened to her. Do you recall?
I don't know, I think you gave her away. I don't have any memories of her, but I remember you talking about her.
That's right, I remember now. I gave her back to the Anselms, and they had a farm, and so they kept her. But she was such a precious little thing, but she was a real problem in the house because she had that bowel problem, and that was a real mess. And then, let's see, the next cat we got was TC,
You had Buffy, I think.
yeah, it was Buffy. And Buffy was a little female Siamese, Seal Point. Oh, we always had the Seal Point Siamese. And she was precious. She was a kitten when we got her. She was just the most precious little thing. She was so loving, and I just loved her. I used to call her Buffy, my pouty puffy, because that's what she reminded me of. And we didn't have her too awfully long. We had her
spayed.
Yeah, we had her spayed, and she died from that. And so then it was a while before we had another cat. You'll have to help me, I don't remember.
So when you and I lived in Potomac, we had Robin Hood. He was a blue parakeet.
Oh, well, not Potomac. When we lived in Taylorville, we had Robin Hood.
No, we didn't get Robin Hood till we moved to Potomac.
Well, we had one when we were in Taylorville then. Yeah, we did get a parakeet for Doris, and we had him for a few years, and he was a pretty little thing, real pretty.
And then when we moved to Normal.
When we lived in Potomac, we couldn't have a cat. We did babysit Doris, or Linda's once. She had a little Siamese cat for a while, and they were gone somewhere, so we did babysit that kitty, but that's all. We didn't have any. Okay, and then from Potomac, where I taught school, and Doris started school.
We moved to Normal, and we adopted Tyson.
Yeah, we moved in, and Tyson was so cute. I was at the pet store one day there in Normal, Illinois, and they had I don't know if I asked the guy behind the counter about it or if he just suggested, but he had a litter of kittens that had just been born, and they were Siamese, purebred Siamese, and so he said, he'd let me have one of them. And so one day after this little kitty was 8 weeks old, I guess, he brought him to my house, and that was Tyson. Doris named him. We couldn't think of a name, and she named him Tyson. And he was so cute. He was a funny little thing, and play, and he also chewed on Darwin's socks and things like that. And he was a loving little kitty. The only problem with him, he grew up there. He was a little bit high-strung, and he was a very beautiful animal. He was probably the most perfect of all the cats that we had. And he would, he couldn't be around another cat. And we moved to this nice subdivision there in Normal, a beautiful home. And next door neighbor had a big old yellow Morris cat, we called him. I can't remember the cat's name now, but there was a TV cat
Commercial,
at
yeah.
the time, and his name was Morris, and he advertised a lot, and so, and they looked just like him, so we used to call him Morris. I don't know what his name was. And then he and Tyson didn't get along. Tyson couldn't stand having another cat around, and they fought several times. And then Tyson got a little bit aggressive. A couple of times he attacked me when I was trying to catch him, you know, or something like that. I would let him outside, but I'd always tie him, and he could play in the backyard tied up. And I remember he caught 2 or 3 different little moles from the hedge in my backyard at Normal. And that house in Normal was a big bi-level. It was dark brown. It was beautiful. We had a huge family room. We had a big fireplace put in, and then we had there was also down in that at lower level was a nice sized, actually a big laundry room, and plenty of storage area down there. And then Darwin had a den in the room next to that one. And that was really nice. We had that fixed up very pretty. And then there was a stairway going up to the first level. And then in the other side downstairs was the whole other half of that downstairs was a big family room, and it was real nice. And then upstairs was a living room and a kitchen, an eat-in kitchen, and we put some new cabinets in there, solid oak cabinets. They were beautiful. And there was a double glass doors going out onto a porch out there that was deck, yes. And it was very nice. It was a nice subdivision.
Yeah, we talked about that.
We did?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just talking about pets now.
All right. Okay, and we enjoyed living there. And Tyson was happy there. He enjoyed it. And he used to walk. Did I tell you about him walking
Yeah.
in the ceiling? All right. Okay, and then after, while we were living there,
You talking about Tigger?
well, Mother and Dad went to California for the winter, and so they left. They had a Siamese cat called Tigger, and so we took care of him while they were gone. And Tigger taught Tyson how to scratch on the couch, and just literally ruined my brocade couch. And but he was just there for the winter.
And then we had
They got along well.
a couple of birds.
Yeah, we had Sunshine, a little white parakeet.
Which
And that was an interesting situation because
Sunshine was yellow,
oh, that's right.
and then we
So-
also had a white one. And
Yeah.
you told about what happened with Sunshine.
I already did.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we need to have this all written down in front of me so I know what I've talked about. And Tyson, he got sick. And I took him to the vet, and he passed away there, didn't he?
No. Tyson moved with you to Florida and lived in Tarpon Springs with us, and then moved to Dunedin, to Largo, and then Dunedin with us.
Okay.
And
There was another cat that we had, that must have been the one at Taylorville, the Siamese cat, because I remember we took him to the vet and he died there.
yeah, that was TC,
Okay.
of cystitis.
Okay. It's hard to keep them all straight, and we've had so many, it's been so many years.
Tyson in Dunedin started to have seizures.
Yeah, he did. And,
So he went on medication.
yeah, and, he had that for a few years.
And he got very thin and old.
Yeah, he did. And when he finally passed away, he passed away in Dunedin, that's
Yeah.
right. And when he finally passed away, oh bless his heart, he was 19, almost 20 years old when he died.
And before he died, you adopted Mona about 6 months before he died.
Yeah. Mona was a lovely Blue Point Siamese kitty. And I can't remember where we adopted her.
She was Leif's mother. So you got her from
from the breeder.
McCata clan,
Yeah, that had
Cattery.
where Doris and Don got Leif their kitty. That's right, Mona was his mother. And she was Mona was my cat. Mona was part of me. And we just knew each other so well, and just knew what she was thinking, she knew what I was thinking, and we just had a wonderful life together. And we had her, then we moved to
West Melbourne.
right, to Sheridan Lakes, West Melbourne, and she was there and enjoyed it. And she loved the lanai, and we used to sit out there together. And she was just my loving little kitty. And then she passed away while we were still there. She got cancer, I think, didn't she?
No, she just died of old age.
Old age, that's right, it was the next one I got. She did. She was 20 years old when she died. And she just then she never got sick. I never had her in the vet at that time, except for just exams. But she never got sick and died from that way. She just died of old age. And the day she died, of course, we expected it. She was so, fragile and thin. And I had been gone somewhere that morning, and it was Darwin was home with her. I don't know if it was a weekend or what. I don't think he was retired quite at that time. And Mona, when I got home, she was in the bedroom on the floor, and she was cold. So I picked up a towel and wrapped her up in it, and I took her out, and we sat in the sunshine on the lounge on the lanai, and I held her, and she purred and talked to her, and we sat out there for a long time. And in the meantime, Doris and Don and the kids came, and they were all out there with me, and we were sitting there, and I was talking to them and talking to her and holding her.
Oh,
And
she had died before we got there.
Oh, she had?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
All right.
when she
Okay.
died, you call us over.
Oh, I see. Okay, sorry. My memory isn't the best, and it's been too many years ago. But she was in my arms, and I was holding her and looking down at her, and she raised her head and looked at me right in the eyes for a long time, and then she closed her eyes and died. And I cried and cried, and it was just like she was, trying to wanted to take my memory with her, I guess. I don't know, but she was so precious to me. And that was when we were at Sheridan Lakes. Now I've told you all about that house, so you're familiar with that. Okay, and then
Next was Mindy.
we had Mindy.
I think you got Mindy.
I got her.
After
Dara and I went over to St.
Mona passed away.
Petersburg, and we got her from the same breeder that we had got the other kitties. And Mindy was about 5 years old when we got her, or a few years old, not too many. And she was a lovely little. She was a seal point, but she wasn't quite as dark as some of them, but she was a lovely little Siamese kitty. She was real tiny, and she was so cute. I just always loved her name, and we spelled it M-Y-N-D-Y, and that was the name she had when I got her. And she was, it took her a little while to adjust, because she had been with other cats for a while, and so it was like breaking up a family situation with older kitties. And but anyway, she did real well, and then she started having a vomiting problem, and she
Started losing weight.
yeah, she lost a lot of weight, and I took her to the vet, and he'd treat her for this, and he'd treat her for that, and never did tell me what he thought was wrong
Well,
with her.
he said that you needed to have some tests done and you felt that they were too expensive, so you decided
Yeah,
not
they
to
were,
get them.
right, I couldn't afford those tests at that time. And so, but anyway, you know, she was watched over fairly regularly, I mean, very regularly by the vet and by me. And then we were about ready to move in with Doris, and Darwin had passed away, isn't it?
No.
No?
No. But she got, one day she got so bad that you had to take her to the vet.
Yeah, and he put her down then.
He said that she had
cancer.
had
Yeah.
terminal cancer.
Yeah. But he never mentioned that. All the time she was just.
Well, he said it was a possibility, but you would have had to do some tests to know for sure.
Anyway, so we lost Mindy, and
then Jessie. But I think you got Jessie before Mindy died. You got Jessie
yeah, we did.
about 6
We
months
did,
or
yes.
maybe 3 months before
I guess
Mindy
because
died.
we knew she was going to die. And we
I don't
were-
think you knew she was going to die,
well,
but
we knew
you
she
you
was
had
looking
wanted
bad,
two
you know.
cats.
Yeah, and we knew that she was on her last legs. But anyway, so we went to at the shrine there in Melbourne. They had a big
Fostering event.
yeah, and
Well,
for all-
what it was is all the little foster families in the area of cats came and had sort of like a show or a sales event, and
Right.
then that's where we found them.
And I thought I hadn't planned to get another cat, and so we went and I said, well, you know, I have to have a Siamese, and we couldn't find one. We looked all over, and then finally we discovered one, and he was the biggest cat there. And I thought, I've always had little Siamese cats. And Doris says, well, you need a Siamese cat. And so I adopted Jesse.
And he was a seal point.
He was a seal point too, and he was very sad. I felt so bad when I saw him. He had been on the street, they tell me, and then he'd been on this foster home and in cages, and here he sat in another cage, and so anyway, I got him. And we
He was
brought
a
him home.
5-year-old male.
Yeah, and he settled in, and he's been a wonderful pet. I've still got him, and he's just been a wonderful pet. And
He's huge,
he is. He's as big as a small dog.
and he has beautiful, marbly, light blue eyes,
Yes, beautiful eyes, and he's a pretty cat.
and he's an extrovert.
Yeah, he loves people.
Mindy was very playful,
Yeah,
but she didn't get close to many people.
no, she was.
Jesse is lovable. He likes to lick.
Yeah, Jesse's obsessive compulsive, yeah, but he's a sweet pet. And so I've had him now for many years. We had him when I moved in with Doris. I lived with Doris for 3 years, and then I've been at my house on Hanout Avenue for 3 years, and still got him, and he's doing fine. And he's very sweet. He's got a little sister now. One of Doris's Dex's friends had a little black kitten, and she didn't take very good care of her.
She was 3 when we adopted her.
Was she 3?
Yeah,
And anyway, she had been mistreated, bless her heart.
just neglected, I think.
A few scars on her, not too many, but she's got beautiful black fur and so thick and shiny, and she hasn't got a speck of white on her, except she's got white claws and white teeth and big yellow eyes. She is so pretty. She's got the prettiest little profile. She's just real pretty little kitty.
She's shy.
And she is shy, and a lot of that is from having been mistreated. She had been kept in a bedroom and in a house with a big dog, and with a man who was a drunk, and just terrible things, and she just, she suffered from that. But anyway, I've had her now for, how long have I had her, Doris? She's,
How long have you lived at your house? 3 years?
yeah, I guess.
Couple of years?
Yeah, I didn't have her right when I first moved
No.
there. Just had Jessie.
Couple of years.
And so I adopted her since Doris had had her for a while.
But Hershey stalked her, and I felt
Yeah.
bad for her.
She didn't get along with all of Doris's kitties, and she'd scream. Oh my gosh, she'd scream so loud. And so I took her off Doris's hands, and that helped the house over there because she didn't scream anymore. And she's been a wonderful little pet in a quiet home, and she got along fine with Jessie. I mean, they're not chums in a sense, but yet she loves him. A few times she's wanted to play with him, but he doesn't play. He's too sophisticated and mature and old age to play. But anyway, she's kind of wanted to do that, and he wouldn't respond. So, but they get along. They don't have a bit of trouble, and she's just a darling little kitty. She loves me. She kisses me and hugs me and purrs all the time. And I've never heard her scream since I got her. And she's gotten along fine with Jessie. So I'm real happy to have her. I'm just crazy about her. She's just a sweet little thing.
And Ashley, we didn't talk about, and your current bird.
Oh yes, we had adopted.
Actually, you had several birds over the years.
Yeah, well, mainly parakeets. And we adopted when we lived at
Dunedin.
yeah, we adopted. Doris named her Ashley. She was a
We thought she was a boy.
yeah, for a long time we did, and then we found out she started laying eggs. So we said, whoops, we got a girl. But anyway, she was an African ringneck parrot, little green parrot, and she was loud and somewhat destructive, not bad, but a little bit. But she was a funny little thing. We taught her to talk. She would tell us she loved us and good night and
Beep like
stuff
the
that.
microwave.
And what?
She would beep like the microwave, and she
Yeah.
would make a sound like a squeaky door opening.
Yeah, right.
And she would say, bye!
Yeah, right.
And she would meow.
Yeah, she did. She was a funny bird, and we had her for a number of years, and she finally passed away. And then after that, we in the meantime, well, we took care of. Doris had a white dove
Yeah.
when she was in seminary, and they were having problems keeping her in their dorm.
No, it's when we moved back to your house for 9 months in between my master's degree and
I
Don's
thought
master's
brought her
degree.
Before that, okay.
And we put her in your
Yeah, and I had a
greenhouse,
greenhouse, yeah,
which
I
we
had
talked
a
about,
greenhouse
yeah.
and put her out there in that greenhouse in Dunedin, and she thought she was in heaven. It was a wonderful place for her. She was so precious, and she would laugh. She'd go, ha 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 ha.
She was a
It was
sweet
so
bird.
funny. She was just a real sweet little dove.
And she lived a long time.
She did, yeah. She was 15 years, I think. Didn't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that. She was
Yeah.
about that old. And then we,
In West Melbourne.
yeah, and after she died, we weren't going to get any more. But then the thing is, when we had her, she was a big dove, pretty good sized bird. And so Darwin and I had invested in when we lived at, before we moved to West Melbourne, when we lived in Dunedin, we had invested in one of these real nice, great big bird cages with wood trim and everything, very fancy and pretty and expensive. And so she lived in that for a while,
In
until I
Dunedin.
moved her into the greenhouse.
I mean, oh, okay, I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
and of course then we had moved it to there. And then, we still had that bird cage. And I told Darwin, I said, well, you know, I didn't think I wanted to get another bird, but I said, we've got that big bird cage and it's so pretty and I hate to part with it. So why don't we just go and get a couple little parakeets to put in? Inexpensive little birds. And we did. We went to, Darwin and I went here in Melbourne and got a couple little parakeets. One was a turquoise color and the other one was a lavender color. And they were so cute together. They were both male because I didn't want to raise baby parakeets.
We named them Turquoise and Amethyst.
Yeah, the kids named them. And so we had Amethyst. Did we have her a year? I don't
Him,
recall.
I think. It was 2 males.
Pardon?
It was 2 males.
That's what I said, yeah. But
Yeah.
I think we probably had her a year.
At least, yeah.
And she died. And I don't, she just died. And so we had the little turquoise bird left, and I thought, oh dear, now that her little friend's gone, I don't know what'll happen to him. His little friend's gone, I don't know what'll happen to him. And that bird is still with me. And happy as can be in that cage, as long as he has his mirrors. He sleeps next to his mirrors, that's his friend. And he's very happy in that cage, and he's in my house now in Hanau in Palm Bay.
Palm Bay.
And he's a good little bird. He whistles and sings, but he doesn't. We never taught him to talk or anything. But he's happy, and he's getting older. I can see a big change in him just in the last, probably the last 6 months. There's a big change in him, but he's happy. He flutters around in his cage. He doesn't do much except look in the mirror, but he's happy doing that. So.
What are some awards or recognitions that you've earned over the years?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Darwin had a ton of them.
Well,
But-
yeah, we talked about some of those, but
Yeah. Well, I don't think I ever got any. I mean,
teaching,
what?
anything for teaching or as a kid?
Well, yeah, now and then I'd get some kind of little award for teaching, nothing, not a big deal, They wanted me to run for Teacher of the Year one year, and I wouldn't do it because I didn't want to have to go through all that. I mean, it disrupts your lifestyle terribly, and I wasn't about to go through that, so I told them I wasn't going to do it. But that was nice of them to ask me to do that, and I enjoyed teaching, and I taught in Seminole, not the Seminole around eastern Florida, but Seminole down in Pinellas County. There was a little Seminole town there, and we had just a lovely school, and I taught in the middle school there.
Yeah, you talked about that.
I did.
Any awards as a child or youth?
Well, I was always involved in school and music, band and chorus and everything else. And I got lots of awards every year for that.
Okay.
And I was active in the Girls Athletic Association. I told you about that, and I got awards every year in that. And
Okay.
I lettered in the marching band and stuff like that. And I got when I graduated from high school, I was a runner-up for college. What's the word I want to use?
Scholarship?
Yeah, I guess. In music. And but I wasn't going to major in music. That I didn't want to major in music, and so I just got a runner-up. And the person that got the award was going to go into a music major.
Mm.
And so, but that was an honor. I was surprised at that. I got that, and
Sweet Adelines?
well, I don't know. I was a president of my group at Sweet Adelines for quite a while, around board of directors and things like that. And
But you guys competed.
yeah, we competed. chorus many years in
And
a row.
quartet.
And then I was in 2 or 3 different quartets, and we would compete sometimes with those, but we never were good enough to win the top. But it was fun. We had lots of fun. Sweet Adelines was fun. That's a lifestyle, though. It takes all of your time. And we traveled all over and performed all over, and we had fun. There were, the quartet I was in for a long time, the 4 of us, we'd get together and rehearse at least once a week. And then we'd travel to various places to perform, just the 4 of us. And it was fun. And we did a good job. We had pretty nice harmony.
How about any favorite holiday memories?
Oh, well, as a kid, I always remembered the Christmas day, Christmas morning, when we'd run downstairs and grab our gifts and throw paper everywhere else. And invariably, every Christmas, we had to go out through the garbage to somebody throw away something, one of their gifts, in all the trash. But, and then, Darwin and I, when we were first married, we had this little tiny mobile home at college. And our first Christmas tree was a branch that we got free. And then we always had a Christmas tree and always decorated it every year throughout my life. And I still do.
Any other favorite holiday memories?
We always we celebrated every holiday.
I couldn't see your head. I know up north there are a lot of good autumn memories.
Yeah, I always loved to go back to Mother and Dad's place because it was out in the country, and in the winter we'd go on hikes in the snow, and in the summer we'd go fishing in the creek, and we would take walks. Mother and I used to take lots of walks together. She was very, very knowledgeable about constellations and about plants, and they had a woods, and Daddy built a trail system in the woods, and we'd go down there every time I was there and walk through the woods and talk about the plants and the animals, and it was just a lovely, lovely way to be raised. It's too bad not every kid can't have that type of raising. And one thing that I thought was so cute, I've never seen any since, in that southern Illinois area, we had little chipmunks, and they were so cute, little striped chipmunks, and they were so cute. And then when we lived in Normal, I used to take Doris to the park to swim at Fairview Park, and they had little ground squirrels there, and they were so cute. They'd burrow into the ground, and they'd come up and look around, and they were cute out there.
How about any holiday memories with the grandkids, like Christmas or Easter or
we always
Independence Day or anything like that?
You'd always come to our house and stay for a while, and we always enjoyed having the kids there. It was such fun.
We did that like on Christmas Eve, that type of thing.
After when you moved back home, moved. When you were in seminary, when you were first married, you would always come home and stay with us.
Yeah.
But then after you had graduated from seminary and moved to
Brevard County.
You stayed with us for a while, and then you moved to Brevard County. Then we would always come over and visit you, or you'd come over and visit us, bring the children, and we always had. In my house in Dunedin, it was a big house, and I used to put up 2 Christmas trees. I had one great big tree that was really fancy, and I'd put it in the living room in the bay window, and then in by the fireplace in the family room. It was a rustic family room. It looked like a lodge, and with a big fireplace with a stone that went all the way to the ceiling. And beside that fireplace, I'd always put it was still a good sized tree, but it wasn't as big as the one in the living room, and decorated it with colored lights and toy and ornaments and things, and it was always fun. And we'd roast marshmallows and hot dogs in that fireplace when you guys would come.
Let's see, why don't you talk about any memorable vacations you've taken?
Well, we didn't take very many. Darwin and I, when he was working for Illinois Agricultural Association, he went on several trips. We went to Mexico once, and another time we went to Mexico when Doris was in high school. She
Middle
went
school.
down. Oh, was it middle school?
Yeah.
She went down to Mexico with her friend whose parents had a home down there and stayed for a week, and then we went down and visited with them too. That was a fun time.
Stayed for another week, just as a family, yeah.
Yeah. And then we went to, when Darwin was teaching, he was a senior class sponsor, and we went, we had the senior class, small class, but the senior class wanted to go to New Orleans for their trip. And so we all went down, Darwin and I, and I went along because the other sponsor, the parents wouldn't let their kids go if he went. He was a New Yorker and had bad reputation.
Oh yeah, you talked about this.
And so anyway, I got to go on that trip, and that was fun. It was the first time the second time I had been to New Orleans before. When Darwin and I were in college, we and a couple of other couples, good friends of ours, took a weekend trip and went to New Orleans in Florida, and that was a quick trip, let me tell you, but it was fun. We had a lot of fun, and that's the first time I was there. And then we went to New Orleans and then we went another time too. I think, I don't remember.
Go to the Bahamas for your honeymoon?
No, we ever, I told you about my honeymoon before. All we went is to
Yeah, but later, I thought.
No, it wasn't a honeymoon, but we did go to the Bahamas. I went to the Bahamas. I took a marine biology class when I was in college. And so I took we had a week, 2 weeks, a long trip. It was a bus trip. Oh, let me tell you, my ankles swelled and everything else. Anyway, we went to Florida from Normal, Illinois, and we stayed at some interesting places down here. Way up there in the panhandle of Florida, way out in the wilderness. We stayed in this old motel, and but while we were there, then we went out on the Gulf and took a trip out and collected plankton, and it was fun, and it was a good trip. And then we went on down to Fort Lauderdale and got on a plane and flew to Nassau, and that was fun. That was real exciting. Went to the casino and just all kinds of stuff, and then flew back to Fort Lauderdale, and then took the bus again down through the Everglades and on up to Naples and up the East Coast and then back to Illinois. That was a big, long trip. But we had a lot of interesting stops. Went to Clearwater Marine Science Center, places like that. On the way, all science stuff.
And then when I was 9, you guys took me down to Florida for the first time to visit Papa and Mama.
Yeah.
In their RV.
Yeah, they would spend the winter in Florida. And so, yeah, we did that, and that was fun. Went to Disney World.
And SeaWorld.
And both of them, I never.
Yeah, SeaWorld was new.
Yeah.
And Sanibel Island.
Yeah.
Used to go shelling at 5 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, that was exciting. And in fact, on that trip, that first trip that I took, we stayed at Sanibel Island for a while, and then gathered shells, and at that time, that was interesting time because the hotels at that time down there in Sanibel were all old-fashioned white houses, big, it was a tourist attraction. And so we stayed there, and then, we'd boil out our shells, and they had a little boiling house where you could go and boil your shells out and everything, and that way you could keep them. And, but that was fun. And we'd go out at night then too, and collect shells, and when the tide changed. And then we went, and then we were, see, now I lost my track. We had we went to Mexico,
We
the
had,
Bahamas.
when we moved to Florida, we got a timeshare, and one of the
Yeah.
places we went to was Hot Springs.
Well, yeah.
Right after seminary.
Yeah, we had gone, Darwin and I had gone back to the Bahamas also, and went to Freeport.
Oh, went before I was born.
No, well,
Yeah, it was before I was born.
maybe so.
Yeah,
And so we had been to the Bahamas a couple of times.
yeah.
And then we went to, what were you asking about? What did you?
We went to Hot Springs
Oh,
after
well,
I got out of seminary.
when we had that timeshare, we wanted to continue that. We would host the family, and we hosted Darwin's family one year,
Oh, that was Helen, yeah.
and went to
Georgia.
Helen. That was a lovely trip,
It's
and they enjoyed that.
A German settlement in Georgia.
It's lovely. It's up
Yeah.
in the mountains, and then let's see, Darwin's sister and her husband went, and both of Darwin's sisters, two of Darwin's sisters and their husbands went, and then we took my family, and we had my parents, and we stayed in always nice accommodations, and that was at Helen, wasn't it?
No, your family went, I did not go, but your family and you guys went to Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Gatlinburg, yeah, that was fun. We enjoyed that. We were staying in a house up, it was a vacation rental up in the mountain from Gatlinburg, and we would drive down to Gatlinburg every night. And Gatlinburg was just like a festival every night downtown, in the whole downtown, people everywhere. And it was just lots of fun. We had a good time there. And my two sisters were there, and their husbands, and mother and dad, I guess, and then Darla and I. And then we went to Helen, Georgia with, and Doris and Don went with us to that, up in the mountains there. And that was fun. And
That was with Dad's family.
right, it was with his two sisters, yeah.
That's where I
And their
first
husbands.
fractured my neck.
Yes, I didn't know about that for a long time, but you did that.
And then in Florida, we went to Hot Springs,
Now,
Arkansas.
that was another
Yeah.
vacation time, through our timeshare. We took my parents and, my, sister
Aunt Linda and Dana, I
and,
think.
and her daughter, yeah. And, that was fun. We had a nice time there, and, toured the hot springs. And, Doris and Don went to one of the bathhouses and took the bath, and,
We took boat rides.
yeah, we were right on a lake, and took the boat ride. I got a terrible sunburn, and but it was it was nice. It was a nice time.
It was beautiful scenery.
I was kind of glad to go to that because my aunt and uncle always used to go down there every year to Hot Springs, and she'd take those baths because she thought it helped her, made her feel better. And then.
I think that was our
And I
most
think that's
significant.
probably about the last vacation we took.
Yeah,
Once
most
we-
significant. When I was little, you and Dad went to New York.
Well, you went too.
Yeah, well, true. I
Yeah.
just don't remember it.
You were just a toddler.
that
we
trip
went,
anyway.
we went out to New York and we camped 1 or 2 nights. And the first night we didn't think to put you in, to set up the tent before we left from home and stay in it one night because you didn't know what was going on and you were not going to sleep in that tent. But that was a nice trip, and we went to Washington D.C. and we well, first of all we went out to visit Gloria and Jeff. He was in the military in the Army at that time, and he was stationed at what's the name of that place?
Virginia.
Yeah. Anyway, they lived in Arlington, and that's where they lived. But anyway, we stayed with them, and then Darwin, we left you with Gloria and Kurt and Jeff, and then Darwin and I went into Washington D.C. and spent a couple days. That was fun. We enjoyed that. And then we went on to New York City and took Doris with us, and everybody that we met in New York City thought you were the most wonderful thing they'd ever seen. And it was nice. Everybody was everybody said, oh, the people are going to be so mean and nice. And they weren't. Everybody we met was just wonderful people. They were so nice and so helpful. And of course, we were lost all the time, you know.
We actually got to go up into the torch of the Statue of Liberty, which you can't do now.
No, they wouldn't let us go in that.
No, we didn't.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Did we?
That's what you always told me.
Oh, well.
We got to go up in the
I knew we went
torch.
up into her hat, but I didn't know we went into.
Yeah.
I thought
But
they
it was
were-
before they closed the torch.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that was the highlight of the trip, was going up to the Statue of Liberty, and that was so, because it was hot and stinky and dirty and everything else in the city, and we had stayed in New Jersey and rode the commuter train in, and then we took the train out to the Statue of Liberty and got on the boat ride to go over, and it was so refreshing. It smelled so good, and it was just lovely there at that time. And Doris enjoyed, as a little girl, playing with the pigeons. There were a whole bunch of pigeons around. And then, then we went back to Gloria's. I guess we went back to visit them again. Maybe we didn't. Maybe we just headed home from there. Can't remember. And I didn't mention, back when we were first married, us and another couple, Darwin and I and another couple, good friends of ours, I think we took our car and we drove to Niagara Falls. And that was really a nice trip. I'd recommend anybody to go there. It was such a lovely place.
Yeah, Dawn's been there.
Yeah, it was very nice. And it was, you know, just a small town then. I don't know what it's like now, but the falls are just fabulous. Just incredible. Okay.
Any other vacations?
I think we pretty well covered it.
Yeah, I mean, you did a lot of
I'm not much of a traveler.
Illinois area and Florida area
We spent
vacations,
a lot
but
of time in the car going back and forth wherever we lived to my parents' house.
Yeah,
Every
etc.
holiday, about at least one weekend a month, we were always at my mother and dad's house because we loved to go there, and it was just like a vacation too.
all right, well, we'll end this interview today. Next time, we'll start talking about some of your hobbies throughout life. Thank you.
Okay.